The most rewarding thing for us is knowing that we've affected people's lives. If we get a great outcome, everybody loves that, everybody high fives, it's a big victory. What is very rewarding is even when the facts are terrible and you can't do much for them, to have a client come back to us and say, I know that you were on my side. I know that you did everything you can do, and I am proud that you were my attorneys. You can't get any better than that. My first job was just a couple months after I graduated here in the 8th Judicial Circuit in North Central Florida. I was a staff attorney. We were called law clerks back then for the judges. So I did everything from death penalty cases to appeals to pro se inmates to criminal, civil, we did it all. And having access to the judicial assistants and to the judges gave me very good insight into what preparation goes into presenting a good case, and I learned to think like the judges think. So I think in the practice today that gives me some good insight into what we need to bring to court to give the judge the information he needs to make the right decision. The way I define preparation is simply to be the expert in the courtroom and in the room. You always want to be the person who knows the most. And in federal court, the guidelines are so high that defendants would routinely go to prison for life, 30 years, 40 years. It numbed me a little bit to the fact that somebody's actually sitting in prison day after day after day. When I got into private practice, one of the first cases we had was a DUI manslaughter. And we were able to meet the client and his family and sit down and talk to them about what led him to that point. And I got some insight into what it's like on the other side. And I realized there's a human being behind here, you know, with all his hurts and foibles and his background and what his family's like. That's what made me realize that we need people to stand with clients who have been accused, to walk them through that process. Regardless of the outcome, it's not always going to be a good outcome, but they need somebody who's going to be loyal to them and to advocate for them and be there every step of the way.
So Peg is very in tune with how people are feeling and thinking, and that's not my strong suit. So I'll suggest an argument and Peg will respond, yeah, but think about how that's going to feel to this person when you present it that way.
I would never expect to hear from a lawyer on a Saturday, and she would just call out of the blue and say, hey, I just want to let you know I got this information, I got that information, everything's looking good.
Peg and Larry are unique. I didn't feel like they was attorneys. I felt like we were friends.
I thanked her like crazy. I sent her flowers to thank her. Just like, thank you so much for your hard work and for, you know, keeping me calm and saying, you've got this. And it wasn't a false sense of confidence. It was, no, the law's on your side.
Preparation involves a lot of case law research, not just cases, but it could be anything from attorney general opinions to ethics opinions. We enjoy good working relationships with a lot of universities around the state. We maintain regular contact with the general counsel's office, so it's very important for us to maintain good working relationships. One of the federal judges I worked for had a saying that it's possible to disagree without being disagreeable. And to him, it was very important when lawyers came before him that they put up a spirited fight, but that they could speak to each other afterwards, that they could go out to lunch, that they could collaborate where needed. We always try to do that with opposing counsel. We try not to see them as the enemy because that tends to make the process more adversarial than it should be.
When there's a situation where somebody needs to be listened to, Peg is the person for that job because she has a phenomenal skill for listening to people, telling them what is difficult to tell them and what they probably don't want to hear, yet they accept it because of the way she does it.
You can put up a heck of a fight without being obnoxious about it and without being unprofessional. So when you see us in court, what you see is a polished professional presentation. What you don't see is obnoxious behavior, ever.